A question for either of you guys. What have you observed from Matt Murray that's unique about either his personality or his performance among goaltenders?
Well, I'll say he's a really competitive guy. He might not show it off the ice or whatever, but when he gets on the ice for practice or whatever, he never allows a goal in his net, and when he does, he gets pretty pissed off. So I think that competitive nature just translates over to the game for him.
And well, as far as for me, I think his ability to just stay calm throughout all the good and the bad.
Conor, Bryan suggested or predicted after Game 2 that you would receive, I think, a zillion texts. That was his estimate. What was the aftermath of scoring the overtime winner? Who did you hear from? What was that? And what was that like for you to have gone through that?
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. You expect to hear from your close friends and family. It's kind of the same group of people that you hear from throughout the whole playoffs. When you score a goal or when you win a series, you kind of hear from the same people. And I mean, it's pretty cool to see the support you actually have because you don't always hear from them. But when they do reach out, it's pretty cool to see that they're still watching.
Dan in the middle.
I was wondering if each of you could give your own experience of the time you first met Mike Sullivan and how it went, what was your initial impression, and also just your thought on him leading this team through this playoff run.
When I first met him, it was I got a little bit of a vibe that he might be too intense. But then later on in the conversation, he cracked a joke, so I kind of realized I think he might know when to be intense and when to have fun, which I think helps a young guy try and just stay loose.
Yeah, I think he just got that kind of echoing voice that demands attention from everyone, and I think that's one of his strengths as a coach. He knows how to get through to a player. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, he's going to let you know, and I think that's his strength. That you always know where you stand with him.
Left side.
For both you guys, like before the season or before you got to the NHL, what was the loudest, most hostile building that you played in? And so far in these playoffs, Madison Square Garden, Verizon Center, these are loud places. What is it like to play in a hostile environment like that?
Before I got here, it would have to have either been at the University of Michigan, maybe North Dakota, or Hershey in the American League. Those three kind of stand out in my mind. And being able to come in the NHL and play in some of these rinks with the loud crowds and the intimidating environments, it's fun. It just kind of seems to give me a little bit more energy too.
Yeah, I think Hershey, same for AHL, and I don't know if I want to give too much credit to any other college team, so I'll say UMass was the loudest.
Second row on the left.
Yeah, for both of you guys, didn't play full rookie season, so what is the playoffs and going this far? What has that done, you think, for your development? How do you feel today compared to maybe the end of the season?
I think we have a pretty similar experience throughout the regular season, me and Rusty. But I think throughout the playoffs, you kind of mold into a team more than any other time because you always have to stick together. And I think the older guys in the room have done a great job at bringing us young guys in and making us enjoy this experience while it's here. And, I think we're just embracing it as much as we can.
Yeah, and I think as far as what you learn, you learn the consistency and the amount of effort it takes, not only as a player but as a team, to kind of be able to make it far.
A few more here in the back.
Guys, would you say that your biggest assets in the playoffs, and especially against the Sharks, has been the fact that you have threats throughout your lineup in the four different lines that you have? And is there something you want to do a little different tonight, being in their building?
I think, yeah, I guess on any given night, pretty much any player or any line can kind of step up and play really well or make big plays or score big goals, and that's been kind of a huge important part for us in the playoffs here. And as far as tonight goes, I don't think we want to play any different. The matchups might be a little different because they're on home ice, but that's kind of what we expect, and we just got to keep playing our game.
Left side here, or right side here.
Just wondering, having played for Sullivan, how did that help you be comfortable when you got to the NHL? Just knowing what he expects he knows your game, just a little bit of a trust level between the two of you, or both of you?
Yeah, I think the trust goes both ways too. I think you have to trust your coach to believe in his system, and we always had a really good start in Wilkes-Barre for anyone who's following, so we kind of knew that the system worked. And when we came up here and already knew what was going on and how he was going to run the team, it was an easy transition for a lot of us.
Yeah, being able to see how he runs a team down in the American League, and he's able to see what kind of player you are and what situations you thrive in, kind of makes a big difference when you come up to NHL, and he knows that you can play in those certain situations.
Last question, Sean in the front.
Guys, with the passing of Muhammad Ali yesterday, I'm curious if either one of you have an iconic memory and if his life has shaped your lives as athletes at all.
I mean, just his competitive nature was above all else, I think, and obviously that famous picture of him standing over. And I think just his competitive nature, you always kind of follow that as a kid. He's a little bit older than our generation, but you kind of look at those things and you learn how to compete like he did.
For me, it's just seeing the legacy that he built for himself and how so many people admired him and respected him and saw him as a great role model. It's just one of those things you can learn from, and it's sad to have this happen, but it's also a time to celebrate his life.
Thanks, guys.